can be part of our discussion. The number to dial is 090-6005-100. We're speaking with Mr. Paul Odunaiya, the MD CEO of Wemy Industries Limited, and we're looking at National Women's Week. Well, though it's not peculiar to a country, we want to align with the United States and to also look at the fact that we're celebrating women world over, aside celebrating the wonderful things mothers and women do. How well can we help them live longer and live better, healthy lives is what we're looking at today on the show. The number again is 090-6005-100. Back to you, Amina.
There's a sanitary diaper, there's a sanitary pad that, you know, we used to use, especially when after putting to birth, you know, during childbirth. You know, you start to use it. And people just use it for a few months just to, you know, maintain the blood, you know, flow. And then that's it. And then they go back to whatever they were using. Now, you said something about being impoverished. You know, that has been a major factor. But we know that in the northern part of the country, let me be specific on that, to say that most women who use wrappers and cloth, you know, as a form of, you know, sanitary pad, they wash and dry and then they reuse and things like that. These people use this sanitary, you know, pad during child delivery because the nurses will make them, you know, it's part of the requirement that you buy them. But there is no education to say these are the kind of things you should be using for every time you have your monthly cycle. Do you understand? So that vacuum from when you say education and impoverished, don't you think that is the health givers, the caregivers are not doing the needful to really, you know, sensitize or educate, you know, young mothers?
I think that's been done. You know, that's been done. And I think some people already know this, but if the cost of a pad is going at 400 naira and you're hungry, why would you pay for a pad? So for companies like ourselves, one of our aspirations and what we want to do is to be able to be in a position where we can manufacture and make this product at such a very low affordable price so that anybody can buy it and it doesn't, you know, they don't have that choice that should I buy food or do I have to do this? So that is what we're trying to do. They know, they now know, thank God for social media, the internet, and medias like yourselves are educating people about some of these things. They know, but it's now getting to the point that can I buy it, can I afford it? So rather than use 2 or 3 pads or 4 pads, I use one and manage or whatever.
Okay, I mean, we could go on and on talking about how women are built differently from men and all of that. It's not about equality or feminism and all of that. It's just about makeup. And I read somewhere that elder and long-term care issues affect women more than men because they live longer, they have higher rates of disability and chronic health problems at the long run. Should this scare or empower us?
I think like any problem, I always look at it as an opportunity. With all some of these issues, health-related issues, comes an opportunity to provide solutions for them. And I think women should consider solutions, especially when there's a lot of unemployment around. There are solutions out there to solve some of these problems. And women can embrace these problems and be solution providers for themselves, for their own species.
Talk about solution providers. We're still in a patriarchal society where women are some sort of relegated. You know, some of these people, you were talking up to us about how you're most prevalent in the north, and we have people in that part of north that most of these women cannot even fend for themselves because they're not being empowered to go out there to work and do stuff themselves. They're like, just giving out in marriage and all of that. How do people like you work hand in hand to ensure that these young girls, you know, starts getting empowered so that they grow up to be women that can fend for themselves and also avert some of these health issues that they face when they grow older?
Yes, that's a good question. I think my view is that because I've been to the north twice, I've been to Kano, I've been to Kaduna, Abuja, and the culture in that part of the country is important. We need to respect the culture there, and I think using other women to speak to other women is a first way to go. And you know, we're not any different from, you know, but I think it's just getting and the women up north are very influential. I mean, don't have this view that, you know, they're just on the sideline. They are very influential to their husbands, to their men. You know, I've experienced you know, things up north that
The
they can.
educated ones, because I mean, we still have some that can't even come out to speak and air
Yeah.
their views because of what the society or what culture has, you know, relegated them to be.
You know, there's something that I want us, you know, to actually hit on, and still on the hygiene issue. There is this, you know, constant issue of yeast infection, you know, always, you know, reoccurring, especially amongst women. Most women that I know have resorted to stop using, you know, toilets in public places, you know, simply because of things like this. Sometimes you find out that when you go to most of these public places, you see that people stand on the, you know, the WCs just to, you know, take. Now, we keep having this. What I'm trying to say is that this yeast infection half the time, you know, results to itchy and painful feel. And most of these women will tell you that they use, they clean themselves very well. Some people even tell you that they even use douche and all those plenty stuff. Now, how can a woman that keeps having the issue of yeast infection, recurrent yeast infection, how can she, you know, keep a proper hygiene? How can she treat herself properly?
Right. I'm not, I have to say I'm not a doctor, but I'm based on experience and my knowledge dealing with doctor, and get to know the founder of our business was a doctor anyway. The body does its job properly. The problem is that when we interfere. So I know when it comes to that part of the body, you shouldn't be using chemicals, you shouldn't be it should be water, not soap. People should be using things like that. And those are the kind of things I'm made to understand that creates yeast infections. So if natural water does cleaning. When you start using chemicals and introducing chemicals to that part of the body, it's when you start changing the imbalance. It's like your stomach has its natural bacteria in there doing its own job. When there's an imbalance in some of these things, it's when you start getting infection, because there's good bacteria and there's bad bacteria. You know, that's my understanding. So using some of these products properly, and you know, and if you have to clean yourself, you use water, not any kind of chemicals or whatever. That is when you start giving yourself infection. And sometimes, you know, we're animals. We're natural human beings. We're not fixtures. So we have to treat our bodies like that. When you start putting things that are alien, and use organic things, you know, natural things, because we're natural human beings.
Yeah, talking about natural things, I wanted to ask how best women can go about building a positive health habit, because coming to the product use, that's like a different ball game. Now, growing up, you know, most women, I see my mom as she's getting older, she lives on some of this, what's it called, you know, tablets, they call it, and all of that. How detrimental is that? Because you tell you each time my sister goes out, they tell you to get something for the bones and everything. Are those supplements, called supplements, are they really, how healthy are they? Can they live without things like that?
I think we're getting more educated this day and age. I think we all read and find out that actually a lot of these tablets are synthetic, and people are now going back to natural products, natural foods, eating your avocados, eating your fruits and vegetables. You get them naturally, because we don't know what they put inside these things. You get them imported, it's all in a beautiful pack, but you don't know how it's made. And Africa is I'm sorry to say, is a dumping site. A lot of companies, people dump things here, they'll buy it. They are black people, they don't, you know, they look at it, so it's time. That is why I kind of support this government in terms of encouraging local manufacturing, local production. Some of these things need to be made locally, so we can know what is being made and see it, rather than getting it from abroad. But in terms of health, I subscribe to the use of using your natural environment, taking products. You know, so if you find out that a lot of our if you go to the villages, you find a lot of our elderly people live longer there than in the cities. What are they eating? They're eating a natural vegetation there. They don't eat all the chemicals that we eat here. So what's making them live longer? Cleaner air and all that. So I think we need to really observe our environment and take advantage of some of these natural things, rather than going and having those.
Now, so what is Wemy? What are you doing differently to ensure that, you know, women's health are being, you know, promoted, especially in Nigeria?
Yeah, Wemy's, I just want to, apologies for the plug. Wemy's main brand is, because people might not know Wemy is Dr. Brown's. Dr. Brown's is the name of our brand. Okay. And under that brand, we work with hospitals to to educate our mothers about the use of some of these hygienic solutions. We also try to encourage women entrepreneurship because we understand that as a woman, you don't need massive education about childbirth, menstruation and things. These are the things that you live and experience. So we encourage them to enter this kind of business. And whether we like it or not, women always give birth. They always menstruate every month. So it's a given. People will always use this product. So we encourage them to go into this kind of businesses because it's a sustainable business for them.
As the business angle, how do you go about, because one of the issues here, we look at all of the maternal mortality rate and all of that. How do you help in ensuring that women, you know, they tell you that rates right here because of our health care system and everything is actually high. Do you do any sort of CSR in that regard, you know, aside just wanting them to go into business of making money and you go in your business? What do you do in that line to ensure that this rate goes down to its best?
We do a lot of, there's something called Mama Kits that the government does, so we support them with that. We also support various charities that come and affiliate with us and give them free products. We have a product, especially when it comes to hospital childbirth, called Nightingale underlay pad. So we produce that locally here for people in high volumes, and we try and make them very cheap, and we offer some hospitals freely to use and things like that. So we do a number of CSR stuff for companies, for individuals, whenever they can. But we want to do things that are sustainable. We want to arrange, have partnerships that are sustainable, that is possible. I mean, we are hoping we're able to do more, but the little we do as best as we can.
So what's cooking for Wemy and of course all this brand? What's up for the next quarter in all of that regards as your plans that you want to, of course, support women in what they do and how they are made of?
Yeah, our plans for the future is to continue to expand our business, to get people to recognize that we're Nigerian-owned, Nigerian-made, Nigerian business. Our brand is a Nigerian brand.
So it's made in Nigeria for Nigerians.
It's made in Nigeria for Nigerians.
Fantastic.
It's your brand. It's yours. It's not, you know, you find other brands out there, but this is yours, and we want people to believe that it's their brand and they should support their brand because they love people who work within the value chain of our business, who are all Nigerian.
Now, for manufacturers in Nigeria, they will always complain that the environment is not enabling enough for you to actually produce in Nigeria. What has been your challenges so far?
It's tough, but I believe that good things never come easy anyway. But I think the challenges, to be honest, is ourselves. And but if we work hard on ourselves, things can become easier. I mean,
when you say ourselves, how?
You know, if people stop looking at the short term and stop looking at the personal gain and look at the overall gain, then things move well because people are always worrying about themselves too much. I don't want to speak too much in those kind of codex terms, but I think when you're dealing with stakeholders like the customs, you're dealing with governments and and things like that, and they believe in the cause that we're trying to build a better nation, we're trying to employ people. Those stakeholders should be a bit more understanding, a bit more quicker to help the Nigerians because we employ over about 200 people. They have their families, there are people that depend on this work. They're indirect beneficiaries of our business with distributors around the country who depend on our business. And if everybody's working together to improve, they don't think of their personal interest, then I think things will move a lot quicker.
Yeah, of course, you're also instrumental in putting food on people's table and providing a job. Now, let's talk about the business side as to, when you talk about women. You mentioned something about the Nightingale stuff, and coincidentally, yesterday was International Nurses Day in commemoration, of course, the nurse Florence Nightingale and what she does and everything. So we're in the right light. So you talked about how women can how do we be part of the whole distribution process? Do we need to break the bank to be, part of your
the entrepreneurship package
part of what you do?
I strongly believe that poverty is something that is important to alleviate, and the way to eliminate that is via entrepreneurship because, you know, you might not be educated, but you are naturally educated about your health. You know that you have your periods, you know that you have childbirth, you experience these things, and this makes it very easy for you to do this kind of business because what kind of business can I do? I do this business, should I do that business? If you want to do this kind of business, these are the kind of business you can, that's natural fits for a woman.
Constant.
You know, because you understand it, you don't need a lot of education for it.
We have loads and loads of brands that do what you do, so why would I want to be your face?
As I said, because of our brand, which is made here,
Nigeria
and
for
it's
Nigerians.
Nigerians for Nigerians.
Nigerians do not value made in Nigerian products. I mean, if that's, I mean, I'm just saying because most people want to tell you, I mean, what is brought out there, they put more, you know, value to it. You know, we are supposed to encourage made in Nigerian products and all of that, but do we see that? How much of a problem is that for us as a country?
How acceptable, you know, is Dr. Brown?
It's very acceptable. I think we just need more support. I think that it's time for Nigerians to believe in themselves. We don't need to have a foreign coach for everything. I'm talking like this because I spent about over a decade of my life abroad. I lived with foreign people. I lived in different countries. And frankly, you find Nigerians here in those countries doing very well. How come when we come to our country, we don't believe in ourselves? And I think that psychology needs to change and believe in what we do and support ourselves. Because as I said, the value we create is good. Why would I want to sell a product that's bad to my brother and my sister? I want them to use something very good. If I can't use my product, why should I sell it to you? So the quality of our product is very good. And if it's not good enough, you have access to come back and say, look, there's a problem with this product. Because sometimes we've had people complain to us, oh, this, that. But as I said, it's time for the Nigerian mentality to shift.
Really
After all, we're now consuming our music.
Yes.
We're now consuming our food.
Oh, yes.
It's packaged. So what's your message for women out there as, of course, we celebrate Women's Health Week?
I think the future for the African or the Nigerian woman is bright. And I think the more we educate our women and empower them, the better for our women.